one take rants. So sitting here, popping in every week, every other week, some regular interval. We'll see how that falls out. Basically sitting down, really going a lot more in depth on some of my posts. So whether it's Instagram, TikTok, going deeper on some of those real like nuanced topics. Like I said, one take, going just for a fucking rant. So I may be talking for 2 minutes. This may be like 10, 20, probably not 20. I really do not want to be talking for that long. One take rant. So day one, skill requires stimulus. So we look at all this shit. Like there is so much bullshit out there. Fucking bird dogs are going to fix your lower back. You have to do side planks. You have to do the fucking McGill Big Three. Fucking fire hydrants for your glute health, or even like banded, all that. All that is really great and fine coming from a PT clinic. So when you're working with someone who has just broken their hip, working with any elderly, working with any children, working with really anyone who isn't strong, those very low level stimuli, those really low level exercises, great, cool. Like we're going to probably see some progress there. Especially if the person has never trained. Even if the person has trained, like again, we tear a whole ACL off the bone. We're on that 6-month recovery plan, or hell, like that 2-week plan if you're Aaron Rodgers and taking some of the special stuff. Either way, a period of detraining or just no training at all, cool, that works. When we're looking at like Olympic weightlifters, when we're looking at like actual athletes, that's not doing shit. Again, I'm just going to use random example here. Olympic weightlifter. Let's say we're squatting 200 keys. So 200 kilos, 440 pounds. Squatting 200 kilos requires you to be fairly strong, regardless of your weight class. Like 440 pounds is a fair amount of weight. You've got a strong ass, you've got strong quads, you've got just strong legs, strong core, strong all of that in general. That's a completely separate topic where someone's like fucking squatting 200 kilos and the squat university is coming out and saying, oh my God, look at that little shift. He needs more core strength. Bitch, he's squatting 440 pounds. Like his core is plenty fucking strong. Now there may be some technique errors, there may be something else going on there where we see some shifts, but if you can hold 440 pounds on your back, go all the way down, come all the way up, you've basically just done a plank with your torso, so you're maintaining that core position while you go up and down. Bitch, you do not need a fucking 30-second plank. Like your core is really fucking strong if you're squatting that. Separate story, but along that same line, like if we have someone who's squatting 200 plus, even like 150, like still a fair amount of weight, that's what, like 330 pounds, 150 plus, a bird dog is not going to do shit. Fire hydrants, again, if you're squatting 200, that's not going to do shit because it is so low level, it's not actually going to have an effect on your body. Or you may see like an immediate like 5-second, 10-minute, maybe some random stretch in there. Actual kind of like difference in your body. That shit is not enough to actually garner a stimulus in your body that is going to have any long-term effect. Like if we're not going to be in here squatting 200 kilos and then doing body weight air squats and expecting to get a benefit from that body weight air squat, because we can all understand that percent of 1RM, 200 versus just our body weight, that's like less than 5% of our 1RM. And we all understand that less than 5% of our 1RM, hell, even less than like 70-80% of our 1RM is not going to make any meaningful strength gains. So then when we look at that from that same lens, all right, this person can squat 200 kilos. So let's say let's just make up a random number. Their glute strength, their glute max, their glute med, whatever strength is 100. Just random number, let's just say it's 100. When we're adding in a band, or when we're adding in just fucking thigh bands, or even just bodyweight fire hydrants, that's looking at, again, like less than 5, less than 10% of their 1RM. It's the same exact principle. If we want to build up those tiny muscles, if we want to develop a skill, if we want to develop any sort of adaptation in the body, we require the adequate stimulus. The less trained you are, the less strong, the less whatever the capability is you are, the less stimulus you need. Because if you are elderly, if you just broke your fucking hip, doing just a fucking fire hydrant like that on all fours, that's a pretty heavy stimulus. Like percent 1RM, that is a much higher stimulus than a 200 kilo squatter doing the exact same movement. All of these movements, just because they can be beneficial for some people, and again, this is all from the fucking physical therapist setting, which no harm to them, this is what they learn in school, but it doesn't actually apply to people who are strong, who do this for a sport. If you're strong, you need more in-depth things for a stimulus. Like, let's say, again, we're trying to like fix some glute med rotation. Hell, change their foot position on a glute bridge, change something else there, load that shit up so that their constraint is whatever that foot position is, so you can target that muscle that you're trying to and actually make and develop an adaptation. You need to load some fucking weight on there. Like, we are not going to expect, like, let's say we're trying to develop fucking, I'm completely blank. It's serratus anterior. We're trying to develop some more strength in that serratus anterior. If you're benching, we're just gonna keep it at 200. If you're benching 200 kilos, a scat push-up is not going to be beneficial for your serratus anterior. It is too low load. It is way too low level. There is not enough stimulus to make any positive adaptation. Sure, if you do a couple reps of that scat push-up, right away you're like, oh, hey, yeah, I kind of do feel a pump there. I feel something there. But this is a completely separate video altogether. Feeling does not equal stimulus. You can do 10 fire hydrants, squeeze your butt as hard as you can at the top, come down, squeeze as hard as you can, and you can feel a lot. Your butt may be burning a bit. You can feel a lot. Feeling does not equal stimulus. You can curl just your arms in the air 50 times, and you're gonna feel a burn. 100 times, you're gonna feel a burn. You can do fucking shoulder circles, and after doing it long enough, you are going to feel a stimulus. That doesn't mean, or you're gonna feel something, that doesn't mean it's actually an adequate stimulus to make a change. Skill requires stimulus. If same idea now, we're gonna take it into the weightlifting. If we want to get better at any of our Olympic lifts, if we snatch, if we clean, if we jerk any significant amount of weight, a PVC is not gonna do jack shit. A PVC, sure, like you can go slow, you can start to feel out exactly what you're doing. It's like beginner-wise, wonderful. Beginner-wise, you don't even know what you're trying to do. So if we can take that to just the base concept of motor learning, of just figuring out just that, it's fucking not conscious incompetence. There we go, that little 4 diagram, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, unconscious incompetence, unconscious competence, I think. So we just get you to the point where fully understanding with your full awareness of what you need to do, PVC pipe works great. The further you move down to that continuum where it just becomes boom, motor pattern, where you don't even have to think. It's like walking, breathing. Unless you're actually thinking about breathing, you're probably breathing completely autonomic, where you don't have to think about it at all. It just happens in the background. If you get to that point in your snatch, in your clean, in your jerk, where it's just happening, you're near perfect rep every single time because you are that proficient, PVC pipe technique work isn't doing shit. It is not enough to garner an actual stimulus. If we're trying to do a no hook, no foot snatch, because we really want to emphasize pulling under, fixating underneath that barbell, or trying to fix our pull so we're not looping it around us, doing that with an empty barbell and you're snatching 100 keys isn't doing anything. We need to actually have an adequate amount of stimulus to make that change. So we need to push that primer, push that no hook, no foot, to an actual weight, to an intensity, to a volume, whatever the metric is we're trying to shoot for here, to something that is going to challenge you. For it to challenge you, it needs to be heavy enough to actually garner that stimulus. So I feel like I'm about almost going in circles now here. So I think that kind of cuts out this day one of the video. That's my little end point there. But just know, if you want to get better at a skill, if you want to strengthen a muscle, if you want to build a muscle hypertrophy, if you really want to do anything, hell, this is even in terms of human performance. And like, if you want to fucking learn, you need an adequate stimulus. Yeah, that basically sums it up. If you want to get better at anything, you need an adequate stimulus to get better at that. If you want to learn Spanish and you have taken 3 years in high school, probably going back over Sarah versus a Star, like fucking Spanish 101, like 2B, 2 forms of it, probably not gonna help you get better at Spanish because you've mastered the basics. You need something that is a little bit harder. You need something more stimulating, like, hey, I'm gonna spend my entire day speaking only in Spanish. Something like that. I'm gonna go actually have a conversation with a native Spanish speaker and do my best there. That's gonna be a lot of fucking stimulus. It is going to be difficult. If you want to get better, that's the whole grand theme here. If you want to be better at something, you need to progressively make it harder. Whatever that means. That may mean progressive overload. We're just adding 5 pounds every single week. We're adding 1 rep every week. That may mean we're doing the same weight, same reps for 3 weeks straight, and we're just gonna do it better. We're gonna go a little slower. We're gonna make the reps look better. It's all the same idea. It doesn't necessarily need to be doing shit like that. And right then and there, boom, I turned on do not disturb, and it's vibrating. It's, oh, I just hit my step goal because of how much I'm speaking with my arms, because I'm passionate about the fact that you actually need adequate stimulus to make a change. And if you're doing this sport of Olympic weightlifting, if you're doing any sport, if you're doing literally anything you want to get better at, you're doing it because you want to be better. You don't just want to be doing a bunch of extra shit that is not beneficial to you at all, or a bunch of low-level shit that just makes you feel good, like, oh, I feel like I did something, but it's not actually benefiting you or what you want to accomplish. You're wasting your time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want my time wasted at all. I value my time. I do a lot of shit. I have 2 jobs. I'm in a master's program. I have a wife. I have a dog. I have a lot of shit going on. I don't want my time wasted. No one wants their time wasted. Time is pretty fucking valuable. You really can't get more. Unless some shit pops off and I saw some fucking article, oh, hey, coming here in the next 10 years, people can work till they're 120. Cool. Fuck that. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to spend my time doing that shit. So, overview. Off the cuff rant right there. I forgot what I even called this segment. Should probably remember that. Yeah, so that is what we got. Day number 1 completed. Skill requires stimulus. If you want to get better at something, you need to make it challenging, whatever that may be. Talk to y'all later.